I have changed my pick for this game every day this week. This one has been so hard on me. I guess aside from Auburn, Tennessee is their biggest rival. Chipotle, the Chipotle rumor might be true, guys. Bryce Underwood now with 2 road starts. He's lost on the road and he's won on the road in 2 really hard environments at daytime and nighttime with Nebraska and Oklahoma. So now Oregon actually hosts the longest home winning streak, I think 22. All of our top 10 this week include at least one ranked team. If they win this game, I think they are a bona fide playoff team. And welcome to the Hot Seat College Football Show. I am Trent, your host, on a beautiful Friday afternoon, less than 24 hours away from kickoff of Week 7 of the college football season. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Turn on that notification bell to get a notification every single time I release a video. And also hit that like button. So, welcome to last minute locks for Week 7 of the college football season. There's a lot of really good games this week. We're going to talk about all of them, especially our top 10. And actually, I really think this might be one of our most stacked top 5. All of our top 10 this week include at least one ranked team, and all of them are under a 10-point spread. So a bunch of really balanced matchups. So let's jump over to the monitor so we can check out how we've been doing so far throughout the season. So throughout week 5, actually I had to change this now. That is throughout week 6, we are 40 of 64 at 63%. This is the highest we've ever been. We've only actually ever gone up. We've never went down. We've had some laterals at 61, but we're up to 63. You can see at the top I've added like how many upsets each week has had. And going through all of the weeks early in the season, and you can kind of tell there's a lot of weeks where it's like 3 upsets, 4 upsets. Week 3 had 5 upsets, which is why we did so bad that week. But now that we're kind of getting later into the season, rankings are more accurate to the preseason poll. So hopefully the last couple weeks there's only been like 2 or 3 upsets. So maybe we can get more on track up, because remember, 65% is the goal. We're so close, but can we finish the season at 65%? Maybe even get up to 70. I'm pretty sure we can. So let us talk about some of these games. And like we've been doing bottom to top, let's do top to bottom. Let's start off with 3:30 up in Autzen, where Indiana will go on their first actual test of the season to play the Oregon Duckies. Oregon bumped down number 3 after Miami beat Florida State. Oregon has a 60, I hate that percent, but they have a 67.8% chance to win this game according to ESPN's matchup predictor. They are currently favored by a little over a touchdown, 7.5. The spread is at 53, so I think they're kind of predicting a little bit of a higher scoring game. I would also agree. Looking at least the quarterback matchups, this might be the best quarterback duel we have seen all year, with Fernando Mendoza and DeCorian Moore. Or no, not DeCorian, that's the receiver, Dante Moore. These two are I think they're 2 out of the top 5 Heisman picks so far. I think Dante Moore is 1, Fernando Mendoza is 5 or 6. But Fernando Mendoza with 16 touchdowns, 1 interception to Dante Moore's 14 to 1 interception. Obviously, Oregon coming off of a huge win against Penn State. Last week, did they play anybody or were they on a bye? They were on a bye. So, Oregon, the last game they played was that road game against Penn State. Now they're coming back home to play Indiana. This game is very reminiscent of what we saw Indiana-Ohio State last year. I think this game could be close. A lot of people are picking Oregon to win this game, and I think there's obviously reasons why. But going on Indiana's side, this is a game you want to win, but you don't have to win. And before coming into the season, looking at their schedule, you could see they don't play Michigan, they don't play Ohio State. But they do go on the road against Oregon and Penn State. Now, that Penn State game looks a lot more manageable, especially that they're going to play Penn State the week after they play Ohio State. Excuse me. So 11-1 is definitely in. 10-2 is probably in, especially if Michigan goes 10-2, they beat USC and then lose to Ohio State or lose someone else, and they go 10-2. Then you're gonna kind of have resume comparisons. And I guess you would favor Michigan, but I think a 10-2 Big Ten team, especially if it's only the fourth team in. I mean, they're trying to get 4 out of the SEC and Big Ten, and they keep the fourth Big Ten team. I don't know. This Indiana team is much better than they were last year. They're still kind of riding off of that win against Illinois, winning 63-10. Yes, Illinois is probably going to be unranked if they lose to Ohio State tomorrow, and if they go 10-2, maybe they'll still be ranked. And if they are ranked, the win like that will probably keep them in the playoff. Winning or hosting a playoff game, I probably wouldn't bet on it. But this is a huge game for Indiana. This is the biggest game. If Indiana wins, this is the biggest game of Curt Cignetti's career. The spread is very much in Oregon's favor. Oregon's at home. Oregon is like 49-1. They're past like 50 games out. No, that's not right. The last time they lost at home was against Washington like 3 or 4 years ago. Remember, Washington and Georgia had that streak above Oregon, and they both lost in the same week. So now Oregon actually hosts the longest home winning streak, I think 22 or 23. So my prediction for this game, I think it could. Honestly, if you're asking me, I really don't think this game is going to be close. I think in the middle 8 in the third quarter, Indiana will make it close. I do think Oregon wins by double digits. I think Oregon wins something like a 34, maybe not even double digits. Maybe they win like a 34-25, 34-24. Maybe even like a 31-24. I don't really know. But I am going to take Oregon to win this game and probably cover. So that will take. Which one do we want to do next? Let's do Red River. This game is a fun one, as Texas, the preseason number 1 team in the country, is now unranked. And obviously, if they win this game, they'll be 4-2, and I think that will probably prop them up a win if they win against Oklahoma, who is undefeated, ranked 6th in the country, the second highest, are they the second, or I don't, are they above A&M? Actually, let me see. It's Ole Miss at 4, A&M at 5. So they're the third highest ranked SEC team. And Chipotle, the Chipotle rumor might be true, guys. I don't know if you have heard, but there was a guy at a Chipotle inside of, I think, Austin or Texas or Oklahoma. I don't even know where exactly. I don't know why it would be in Texas, but maybe it was. And he met up with John Mateer, and it's on their message boards. And John Mateer said that he's going to be ready for the Texas game. And everyone's like, "Oh, it's a message board. We see this stuff all the time." But then a selfie came out with the Chipotle employee having a selfie with John Mateer. And now John Mateer is listed as probable in that game. So Chipotle rumor might be true. Still, Texas is favored throughout the ESPN matchup predictor. They're at 60.6%. So actually a decent amount. Wow. It switched. So, okay, this spread has been maybe the most interesting spread I have seen all year. It opened at Texas minus 2.5. Then it was Texas minus 1.5, and then it was Oklahoma minus 1.5, and then it was Texas minus 1.5, and then yesterday it was Oklahoma minus 1.5, and right now it is Texas minus 1.5. Nobody knows if John Mateer is actually going to play this game. This is why the spread has been all over the place. I would not be surprised if this one flipped back in like 45 minutes or a couple hours. Actually, let me refresh just to make sure that when I record this. Okay, it is still Texas minus 1.5. This is the only time I'll probably have this all year, just because of how weird this situation is with Oklahoma with my pick. So we're gonna do 2 predictions. Let's start off with John Mateer. With John Mateer, Oklahoma, I think, is gonna win this game. I think it will be close. I think Oklahoma wins this game with John Mateer. Oklahoma's kind of struggled a little bit with their tackle situation, and I do kind of worry about that, which is why you've had to let John Mateer be the Superman for this team. But with Michael Hawkins, look, they won 44-0 against Kent State. But if you actually watch that game, Michael Hawkins, I don't think played very well. He played terrible against Texas last year. I get Texas was not very good last year. Or not Texas. Oklahoma was not very good last year. But with John Mateer, I think he's going to win this game for his team. I think they win something like 27-20. If John Mateer is not playing, which I have it written down on my pick, if Mateer is playing, I am picking Oklahoma. If John Mateer is not playing, I am picking Texas for a huge bounce back win. How weird, because coming into the season, Texas was number 1. Oklahoma was ranked like 19th. And if you would have told me that one of these teams would have been ranked 6th in the country and one would be unranked, you'd be like, okay, Texas lost to Ohio State and this looked really good. That's why they're 6th. And Oklahoma maybe lost to Michigan. That's why they're unranked. And no, Texas and Penn State are both unranked. So yeah, that is my pick for that game. Now let's do this one. Let's go down to Columbia, Missouri, where South Carolina at noon Eastern time, 11 p.m. I think Central time. So a very early game for the time zone that Missouri and Alabama play in. But number 8 Alabama going on the road after huge wins against Georgia and Vanderbilt to play on the road at Missouri ahead of playing, guess who? Tennessee, which if you don't know, Nick Saban is even, I guess aside from Auburn, Tennessee is their biggest rival over LSU, over Georgia, maybe not over Auburn, but they almost make it sound like they get hyped up more for Tennessee than Auburn just because of how much better Tennessee has been over Auburn. So Bama is heavily favored analytically in this game. They're favored by 2.5. The spread, it opened at -5.5, has been bet all the way down to 2.5 for the Crimson Tide. I'm pulling the trigger on this one. And if you have watched this show the past couple weeks, the thing that I have struggled with throughout predicting is pulling the trigger when I see it. Georgia Tech Clemson didn't pull the trigger. Wanted to pull the trigger, didn't. Texas Florida wanted to pull the trigger, didn't pull the trigger. I'm pulling the trigger. Bama has been terrible on the road under Kalen DeBoer. They are coming off huge wins against Georgia and Vanderbilt, both very emotional wins. I mean, one thing, beating Georgia is very emotional, but getting that revenge game over Vanderbilt and then having Tennessee next week, and right dab in the middle is Missouri, who you beat 34-0 last year on the road in a sleepy noon 11 a.m. environment. I'm doing it. Joel Klatt and Josh Pate, or maybe not Josh Pate, but a lot of people have been looking at this game and being like, take out the logos, take out Alabama, take out Missouri. Look at these teams for their rosters and strength of resume, and Missouri should be favored in every single matchup. Bama has not been able to run the ball, and they've not been able to stop the ball being ran on the ground. And turns out, who is starting at quarterback and running back for Missouri? One of Ahmad Hardy, one of the best running backs in the country, let alone the SEC. And Brett Pabula, maybe the best dual threat quarterback in the country. I mean, maybe Lenore Sellers, but I mean, Brett Pabula has been playing the best out of any of those guys of DJ Lagway, Lenore Sellers, Cade Klubnik, etc., etc., etc. So, I'm picking Missouri to win this football game. I am excited for this game. I will not be watching this game entirely just because Ohio State plays at noon tomorrow. But, I am excited for this one. I am picking Missouri to upset Alabama and maybe be one of the best teams in the SEC. We will see. I think there may be a little more of a fringe team, but I am rolling with the Tigers to beat the Crimson Tide. So that'll bring us to our 7:30 game on, I think, NBC. Does it tell me? Yes, on NBC, where Michigan, I don't know why people talk like that. Michigan, the worst team in the entire country, the worst culture in the country with Georgia, the worst head coach, the most arrogant quarterback maybe you have ever seen in your entire life, Bryce Underwood, and that scumbag of a university going on the road to face USC. And now that I'm talking about this game, I'm starting to realize that I actually don't have. Do I have a fully pick for this game? I do. Okay, so this has been one of the hardest games I have had to predict this week and maybe all year. Oh, wow. So when I talked about last week when I was predicting, what game was it? It was the. What game was I flipped back like a billion times last week. Was it A&M Mississippi State? I don't even know. I know there's been a couple games like this. I have changed my pick for this game every day this week. This one has been so hard on me. Just because there's two sides of the story with both teams that like I listen to someone talk about Michigan, I'm like, oh, they're gonna win. Then I listen to someone talk about USC, I'm like, oh, they're gonna win. And let me explain that. So let's start off with USC. So you look, I get this is a conference game, but like historically, this is kind of like a home and home you'd see on the non-conference. And a lot of times when we see that is that they're split. Michigan beat USC in a close game at home. USC, now favored by 2.5, is hosting Michigan at home. Michigan has gotten better, but so has USC. The defense for USC still has not been impressive to me, which is why I really want to go with Michigan. The predictor is, it is all of USC. They're favored by almost 70% to win this game. This game is heavily favoring USC, but I don't know. Jada Maeva has looked really good. Jordan, the running back, the transfer, has also looked really good. And Malachi Lemon, the receiver, he might be a top 5 receiver in the country. I don't know if he's actually draft eligible. Let me see. What year is he? He's a junior. So he is. So he will be going to the draft this year if he wants to. He has been balling out. The only problem with USC is their defense is just terrible. Their defense is terrible. If you look at the total for this game is at 56. And for a spread this close to be at 56.5, that means shootout. And honestly, I don't see a shootout in this game. I think USC comes into this game being like, okay, we know their secondary is weak and we will be taking shots, but we want to get settled on the ground to allow the play action to attack that secondary. Because if Michigan wants to drop back into coverage, their defense is good enough to get interceptions and force turnovers and to force incompletions and 3 and outs. So I actually think USC is going to try to set up the run. I think they trust their running back. So that really makes it sound like USC is this all-powerful team. But now let's go over to Michigan's side. Bryce Underwood now with 2 road starts. He's lost on the road and he's won on the road in 2 really hard environments at daytime and nighttime with Nebraska and Oklahoma. Justice Haynes, the transfer from Alabama, has been maybe, I hate to say it, is he the best running back in the country? No. Is he the best running back in the Big Ten? No. But he might be the most explosive running back literally in the entire country. He runs like Mark Ingram. He just like, he's had a lot of tackles for loss and he's had a lot of being like stuff at the line of scrimmage. But man, when he bounces it out into the outside, it's just 75-yarder after 75-yarder after 75-yard rushing touchdown. He does it like every week. So he has 654 rushing yards on 85 carries with 8 touchdowns. I think Michigan, we already know Michigan's going to try to set up the run. McCauley had a really good game last week against Wisconsin. And talking about that Wisconsin game, Michigan did not look very good at all. Actually, McCauley actually looked like one of the better parts of that game. They end up winning 24-10. They were up, I think, 10-7 at halftime. Not a very impressive game from Wisconsin. And now people are trying to see, you look at the beginning of the season, New Mexico, Oklahoma, you did not look very good. Central Michigan and Nebraska, your offense looks stellar. And now against Wisconsin, your offense does not look very good. So, and what was the correlation with that? Well, with Central Michigan and with Nebraska, that was not Sharon Moore. That was Biff Poggi, the coach last year from Charlotte. You know, the one with like the tank top and the ripped shoulder sleeves. So now we're trying to ask, what are we going to get out of Michigan's offense? And I think the reason why they've been so conservative are the conservative game plan against Oklahoma. I have no idea why they did that. That was Sharon Moore's alma mater. Like, that was a game where you need to like let the horses fly. The dogs fly. But then you come with Wisconsin. You know their offense is not good. Wisconsin actually played pretty well in this game. So maybe I can kind of understand the game plan. I will say, when you're playing USC with your secondary, you have to be aggressive on offense because they're going to score points. That being said, I have been back and forth on this game. But looking at when I look at football teams, they have a bell curve. Messed up my mic. They have a bell curve. The bell curve at the top is the average. This is the average of where the team plays. And on this side, it is the highest, and this side is the lowest. And you're trying to predict where on that bell curve, where on the pendulum swinging back and forth is your team going to be. Michigan, playing kind of bad, had a disappointing performance last week against Wisconsin, but USC, off of a bye week, coming off of the loss to Illinois, both were on that low part of the bell curve. And the pendulum is now swinging back where I think both of these teams are going to play really well. There is one problem, though. Michigan playing really well is Bryce Underwood going off and that defense being really good. USC playing really well is that offense being really good. Oh, wait, your defense sucks. And yes, they'll be at home, but it's USC. They're going to be? I think they're going to be packed, but I don't really know. And the fact that Michigan and Bryce Underwood have had the road starts that they had, I'm picking Michigan. The two things I hate most about Michigan. Well, actually, the three. The three things I hate most about Michigan is they're cheaters, their fans and culture suck, and they're all assholes. And they're a clutch team. They find a way to grind out these types of games. Look at USC last year. Look at Ohio State. Look at Alabama. Look at Nebraska. You know what I mean? This is the thing they've done before. And yes, they did lose out at Washington last year. But man, this team is so much better than what that team was last year, especially earlier in the season. So I am going to go with Michigan to upset USC. And now, if Michigan wins this game, if USC wins it, maybe not. But specifically with Michigan, with that schedule they have, if they win this game, I think they are a bona fide playoff team because they'll be 5-1. They'll be 10-1, hosting Ohio State if everything goes right. And I don't think they're going to win the game, but I think they'll be 10-2, probably in that 10-11 seed. And maybe be fighting for Indiana for that third or fourth playoff spot. So I am going to go with Michigan to win this game. And that will take us to the number one team in the country heading on the road to Champaign, Illinois to face the Fighting Brett Bielemas and Illinois. This one will be Big Noon's kickoff selections. You'll hear Gus and Joel on the call. I am excited for this game. This was a game coming into the season where it was very much of look out, this might be a trap game, which I still agree. But now with Ohio State being number one Illinois is ranked 17th coming off of that. I mean, they had that huge win against USC and the huge loss to Indiana before it. But looking at Ryan Day and what he talked about in his press conferences, they are treating this like a top 10 matchup. They are not treating like this is like a nobody team. Will the atmosphere be sleepy? I actually don't know. I mean, I saw Curt Cignetti turn Indiana's. I mean, we played at Indiana in 23. I saw what that stadium was like and then what it was 1 year later. I think them hosting the number one team in the country, that place will be packed. I actually was planning on going this game for like 6 months, and then it didn't end up happening. I actually thought this game was going to be a 3:30 game. I thought, looking at it, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the 3:30 game, and Oregon, Indiana will be the noon game. But then you kind of start to realize, oh yeah, Oregon can't really have noon home games because it would be like 9 a.m. So this will be the noon game. Ohio State is favored by 82, and the matchup predictor is 82.2% in favor of the Buckeyes. They are currently favored by 14.5. This was like 16.5 for like 2 seconds, and then it got bet down to 14.5. The spread has been kind of up and down. I was at 49, then I was at 51. It's at 50.5 now, so they're predicting like a 32-18 win. I'm taking the under. I don't think Indiana scores more than 13 points in this game. I actually have them scoring 10 points in this game. I'll get to my pick at the end. But Julian Sand is the most accurate and one of the top 5 quarterback in the entire country. Luke Altmaier has yet to throw an interception. He actually hasn't thrown an interception at home since I think like 2022, 2023. So it has been a long time since Luke Altmaier has even thrown an interception at home. This game, people are kind of back and forth. No one's really picking Illinois to win this game. I bet Desmond Howard will when they predict this game. But people are kind of like, everyone thinks Ohio State's going to cover, but it's kind of like how much. Some people are like 45-6. Some people are 31-17. I'm somewhere kind of in the middle. I think Julian Sand will play fine. I'm kind of predicting like a 21 of 28, 75% completion rate, like maybe like 240, 230 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, maybe a pick, maybe a fumble or something. I have this being a Bo Jackson career day with maybe like $180 on the ground with like a career high of 2 touchdowns. I think Bo Jackson's going to go off. Illinois' defense has been really bad at stopping the run. I do wonder if we're going to see C.J. Donaldson in short yardage in this game. I really don't want to settle for field goal in this game, especially in an environment that could be sleepy on the road. Settling for field goals is not the environment and the attitude you want your team to go through when you're on the road, is settling for field goals. I do think this could be imagine the Nebraska game last year. Nebraska was supposed to be undefeated when they play Ohio State. They lose to Illinois. Then they're playing Indiana and they lose 56-7, left for dead, unranked. Then they play Ohio State, and I know because I was at that game. I was at the Nebraska game last year, and they played Ohio State to the fourth quarter because Ohio State did not want to play aggressive. They were quickly up like 14-3, 14-0 because you had a huge touchdown pass to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate from Will Howard. And then we stopped. They were so worried about trying to run the ball because of the injury situation for when they play Penn State next week that they were trying to run the ball on first and second down and third down, and it wasn't getting anywhere. And that's why that game was so close. I don't think this game is going to happen this week. I don't think that game plan is going to happen. I do think it actually will be similar to what that game was last week in the first half. I think it's going to be something like a 14-3, 17-7 at halftime. Maybe Illinois makes it close. But I think late in the third and the fourth quarter, Ohio State's going to pull away. I have Ohio State winning 31-10, winning by 21, which is covering. It is a little bit more conservative. I do think Max Clare and like Jeremiah will have a touchdown. That's what I think it is. I think Bo has 2 touchdowns. Jeremiah and Max Clare have a touchdown. And then Jaden Fielding with a field goal. So I do think the Bucks win 31-10. 10 points is the most amount of points Ohio State has allowed all year. Ohio University actually should have scored 10 points. They missed their extra point, which is why they only scored 9. But I do have Ohio State winning this game and covering. And those are our top 5 predictions for the game. Now we're going to go to our bottom 5, just kind of quickly going over. So USF goes on the road to play North Texas. North Texas is favored by 2.5. I am going to go with USF to win this game. I get North Texas is undefeated, but I watched North Texas last year. Yes, are they much improved? Yes, but Byron Brown. I really think he is just that good. I'm going to pick USF to win this game. I think that game is tonight at 7:30. Georgia goes on the road against Auburn, which actually is the oldest rivalry in the SEC. Georgia is favored by 3.5. Some people are picking Auburn to win this game. I thought about it, and I'm like, nah, they're coming off the loss to Bama. I think Georgia wins that game. LSU plays South Carolina. LSU is favored by 9.5. We will see about Garrett Nussmeier. I really don't know if he's super healthy. I mean, I could see South Carolina winning this game. I actually kind of want to pick South Carolina in this one, but it's LSU at home at night, which they're like 18-1. So I am going to go with the Tigers. Florida at A&M. A&M is favored by 7.5. I think A&M wins this game. What Florida are we going to get? I have no idea. So I'm going to go with A&M. Arizona State at Utah. Utah was favored by 5.5, and it quickly jumped up to 8.5. And yeah, I'm going to go with Utah in that one. I think the story with Arizona State was really fun. But that team was Cam Scatterbo. I don't know if you watched Cam Scatterbo last night. I mean, that might be one of my favorite players. I mean, the fact that him and Jameis are on the same team makes me so happy. Him and Jackson Dart are balling out right now. They destroyed the Eagles. So yeah, that is our predictions for this game. I'm going to bring it up on the monitor. Let's switch over. So I have USF over North Texas, Georgia over Auburn, South Carolina over LSU, Florida over A&M, Arizona State over Utah, Michigan over, A&M. I just messed up my things. USF over North Texas, Georgia over Auburn, LSU over South Carolina, A&M over Florida, Arizona State Utah over Arizona State, Michigan over USC, Ohio State over Illinois, Missouri upsetting Alabama, Oklahoma only if Mateer's playing, Texas if Mateer is not playing, and then Oregon over Indiana. That is our bets for the week. Hopefully we can get to another 7-3. 8-2 maybe. There's a lot of really good games this week, so I don't know if I'll be able to get up to maybe an 8-2. But a 7-3, maybe 6-4 would be much appreciated. Let's get that percentage up. This is for the regular season. We are at the halfway point, which is sad. For the entire season, the halfway point I think is like week 10. It is sad. The season is flying by quickly. But make sure you're subscribed to get all of my videos over the week about the season. We try to release. I try to release something like 2 to 4 videos a week. We do our Friday night video, which is this one. We'll do Sunday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll try to release 1 or 2 videos. But I hope you guys all enjoyed watching Last Minute Locks. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell to get a notification every single time I release a new video. Don't forget to hit the like button. That's one of the best things I see is the approval from the likes that come on these videos to make sure that if we need to do changes and stuff and what content you guys want to prefer. Also, leave a comment if you have any ideas or anything you want to see on this channel. But I hope you guys all enjoyed watching the Hot Seat of College Football Show. I am Trent, your host, and we will see you guys all on After the Whistle on Sunday afternoon. Thank you. See ya.